Beloved soul, as you walk through life, you may sometimes feel an unseen heaviness pressing upon your heart, a burden, not explained by your present choices or actions. Perhaps you encounter repeated challenges, patterns of suffering, or invisible barriers holding you back from the freedom and joy your soul longs to express. This, dear one, is the silent force of hidden karma impressions formed not only in this lifetime but carried from countless incarnations past, lying dormant within the subconscious mind like unseen seeds, awaiting the right conditions to sprout and bear their fruit. Yogananda taught that karma is not merely the sum of outward actions, but a vast and intricate tapestry woven from every thought, emotion, and intention the soul has ever experienced. Some karmic threads are visible, they appear as life's obvious trials and blessings, but others remain buried deep beneath conscious awareness. Though unseen, these hidden karmic vibrations silently shape your destiny, drawing circumstances and responses that seem mysterious, yet are perfectly aligned with the patterns your own soul has created. This is why sometimes even the most sincere seeker feels trapped by invisible chains, unable to break free despite earnest effort. But, beloved, take heart, for God in His infinite mercy has not left the soul without hope. Yogananda revealed that within each of us is a divine power far greater than the karmic forces binding us. This power is not earned by complex rituals or lifetimes of penance. It is awakened instantly through divine remembrance, through sacred words that align the little self with the boundless spirit. When the soul speaks truth from its core, affirming its eternal freedom in God-hidden karma, burns away like mist beneath the morning sun. In this sacred discourse, I will guide you into the deep understanding of karma and unveil the spiritual phrase that, when spoken with devotion and focus, has the power to dissolve unseen karmic chains and free your soul this very moment. Beloved soul, to free yourself from hidden karma, you must first understand the true nature of karma itself. Most people think of karma as simple cause and effect good deeds, leading to blessings, and harmful actions, leading to suffering. While this is true on a surface level, Yogananda revealed a deeper spiritual science. Karma is not only the result of outward actions, but the subtle vibration imprinted on your consciousness by every thought, feeling, and intention. These vibrations leave a record, much like seeds planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious. Some of these seeds sprout quickly. You may see the effects of certain actions within days, months, or years. This is visible karma. But many seeds remain dormant, sleeping quietly in the deeper layers of the astral and causal bodies of your being. They wait silently, often for lifetimes, until conditions ripen for them to express themselves as outward circumstances. This is hidden karma, vast storehouse of unmanifested tendencies, shaping your inner nature and future experiences in ways the conscious mind cannot perceive. This explains why you may encounter challenges or emotional patterns that seem to have no origin in your current life. A child born with unexplainable fears, a soul drawn toward certain relationships or destinies without reason, these are whispers of karma carried forward like unseen currents guiding the ship of life. Yogananda taught that the human body itself, the very conditions of your birth, are the result of accumulated karmic impressions, not as a punishment but as divine opportunities for learning, balancing, and returning to harmony with spirit. The true purpose of karma is not to bind you but to awaken you. Each karmic impression is a lesson the soul must integrate to evolve toward freedom. The challenge is that without spiritual awareness, these lessons repeat endlessly, binding the soul in a cycle of birth and death. But once you recognize karma as vibrational energy, not a fixed destiny, you begin to see that it can be transformed, dissolved, and transcended through conscious, divine alignment. Hidden karma is like ice beneath the surface of water, invisible but solid, holding energy locked away. Through spiritual understanding and practice, this ice can melt instantly, releasing its grip and allowing the soul to flow freely once more. When you grasp this deeper meaning of karma, fear and fatalism fall away. You realize that you are not the helpless victim of past deeds, but a radiant soul endowed with the divine power to purify itself, to rise above all limitations, and to reclaim its eternal status as a child of God. Beloved soul, having understood that karma is not just outer action but subtle vibration recorded in the soul, let us now journey deeper into the mysterious ways in which hidden karma silently weaves the threads of your destiny. Many wonder why, despite good intentions and sincere efforts, they encounter repeating challenges cycles of financial struggle, heartbreak, illness, or inner restlessness that seem immune to change. This is the silent pull of unseen karmic patterns forces that have not yet been consciously understood or dissolved, and thus continue to attract similar experiences lifetime after lifetime. Hidden karma acts like an unseen magnet in your subconscious mind. It draws people, situations, and even chance encounters that mirror unresolved lessons from the past. It shapes your tendencies, habits, and reactions, often making you feel as though certain struggles are part of your very nature. Yet they are not your essence, they are only old vibrational imprints waiting to be transformed. Imagine carrying a seed in your pocket without realizing it. One day you pass through fertile soil, and without knowing, you drop the seed. Months later, a plant grows in a place you barely remember touching. So too do karmic seeds planted lifetimes ago sprout unexpectedly in your present circumstances, guiding your soul toward completion of lessons long delayed. These unseen patterns also influence the choices you make. Even when you consciously wish to change, subconscious karmic forces can pull you back into familiar behaviors. This is why a person may repeatedly attract relationships that wound them or face recurring obstacles in career or health, despite changing environments or strategies. The karmic blueprint, until purified, continually expresses itself, seeking resolution through experience. Yogananda taught that these challenges are not sent by a punishing God but by divine law itself, an intelligent, loving force ensuring that nothing in your journey is wasted, that every action and desire finds its fulfillment or correction so that the soul may evolve toward freedom. Past life echoes also shape your present destiny in ways you cannot remember but can feel. Talents, fears, sudden attractions to places or people, or even an unexplained familiarity with certain spiritual teachings, these are signs that your soul has traveled far and carries wisdom or wounds from ages past. When the right conditions arise, these hidden memories awaken and color your earthly experience. But beloved, this does not mean you are imprisoned by karma. Understanding its nature is the first step to liberation. Once you recognize that your current challenges are not random punishments but karmic opportunities for awakening, you can stop resisting them with fear or resentment. Instead, you begin to cooperate with divine law, offering your thoughts and actions into the transforming fire of spirit. And as you do, you create the space for divine grace to intervene, not only softening the impact of karma, but dissolving it at its very root, even when it has remained hidden for lifetimes. Beloved one, now that you have glimpsed how hidden karma invisibly shapes the landscape of your life, you must realize the liberating truth. Karma, though ancient and deeply embedded, is not eternal. It is not an unbreakable chain but a vibration, and every vibration, no matter how strong or subtle, can be changed. The soul was never meant to remain bound by its past. It was meant to rise, to remember, to reclaim its eternal freedom in God. And to do this, the ancient masters, including myself, have taught the soul science of instant karmic release, a divine art that does not depend on time or suffering, but on the supreme power of conscious alignment with spirit. Let me explain clearly, not through theory but through divine realization. Karma is vibrations stored in the subtle body. It can be dissolved the moment a higher vibration is introduced with sufficient intensity and sincerity. Just as darkness vanishes not by fighting it, but by turning on the light, so too the shadows of past karma can be burned away in the radiance of God consciousness. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is metaphysical law. A soul that touches deep superconsciousness in meditation, even for a moment, begins dissolving karmic seeds that have been dormant for centuries. One deep breath in divine remembrance can uproot what lifetimes of action could not undo. This is why the saints have always insisted that the spiritual path is not about time, but depth, not about effort alone, but about vibration. Yet the question arises, how does one touch that transformative vibration? The answer lies in your intention, your devotion, and most powerfully in the sacred use of divine sound. Words, when spoken with full consciousness, become mantras. And mantras, when repeated in alignment with spirit, become flames that burn through veils of delusion and karma alike. That is why I say to you with unwavering conviction, say this once with divine love, and karma begins to burn. Say it thrice with unwavering faith, and karma begins to dissolve. This is the divine science behind the command. Say this and be free. Not because the words themselves are magic, but because conscious utterance, rooted in soul, attunement, invokes the living power of the infinite. This is why masters have always hidden the deeper teachings, not because they wish to hoard them, but because only a ready soul can wield such energy without misusing it or reducing it to superstition. You must prepare yourself to speak with that level of soul presence. Before you utter the sacred formula that releases karma, your heart must be stilled, your breath must be calm, your mind must be turned inward. In such stillness, the words you speak are no longer your own, they become channels of divine will. Then, beloved, the karmic burdens begin to melt not slowly but instantly, like frost vanishing in the presence of the morning sun. Beloved soul, now that you understand how divine vibration can burn through even the oldest seeds of karma, let me reveal to you the sacred affirmation that holds this liberating power. It is not long or complex, for divine truth is always simple. The phrase is this: I am not bound by past actions, I am ever free in spirit. Yogananda taught that the soul, in its essence, has never truly been tainted by karma. The chains of cause and effect bind only the egoth false identity that believes it is the body, the personality, the limited mind. The soul itself remains untouched, like a lotus rising above muddy waters, forever pure and radiant in the light of God. This affirmation is not an attempt to deny past deeds, but a conscious declaration of your higher reality. When spoken with stillness, focus, and devotion, it aligns you instantly with your eternal self, the self beyond karma, the self that is one with spirit. Say these words slowly, breathing them into your heart. On the inhale, mentally affirm, I am not bound by past actions. Feel the weight of lifetimes lifting from your shoulders as divine light rises up your spine. Hold the breath briefly and sense the timeless soul within you, untouched by pain or sin. Then exhale softly, whispering, I am ever free in spirit. As you do, feel invisible cords of karma dissolving in a golden radiance, your being expanding beyond past limitations into boundless joy. Repeat this affirmation 3 times, not as mere sound, but as living truth. Each repetition magnifies the spiritual fire within you, burning away subconscious seeds of suffering, rewriting the vibrational script of your destiny. If done with deep concentration at the spiritual eye and sincere devotion to God, this practice draws the divine current directly into the karmic layers of your being, cleansing them more swiftly than any worldly action could. This is why the masters said that freedom is instant when realization is deep. You do not need to toil for lifetimes to become pure. You need only awaken to the purity that has been yours all along. The sacred phrase is the key to that awakening, unlocking the inner door where divine grace flows like a cleansing river, washing away burdens seen and unseen, leaving only the shining remembrance of who you truly are, a radiant, karma-free child of the infinite. Beloved soul, to speak these words with the full power they contain, you must do so in a state of inner alignment. The masters never asked seekers to merely repeat phrases mechanically. They taught sacred science ways to prepare the body, mind, and soul, so that when the mantra is spoken, it becomes a torch of divine energy, cutting through lifetimes of darkness. Let me now guide you through this step-by-step practice, exactly as I have received from the inner communion with Spirit. Begin by finding a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Sit upright with your spine straight, for the spine is the sacred altar where divine energy moves upward like a river flowing toward the sea of spirit. Rest your hands gently in your lap or on your knees, palms turned upward in openness to divine grace. Close your eyes and lift your inner gaze slightly to the point between the eyebrows, the spiritual eye, the divine doorway where God and soul meet. Now breathe slowly and deeply, not forcing, but inviting each breath to wash through you like a gentle tide cleansing the shore. As you inhale, imagine drawing in divine light, golden and pure, filling every cell, every thought. Hold the breath briefly and silently affirm, this light is my true self. As you exhale, release every tension, every old memory, every karmic vibration into the infinite ocean of spirit. Repeat this breathing for a few cycles until you feel stillness descending upon your mind and peace enveloping your heart. When you sense this stillness, place your right hand softly over your heart. This physical gesture awakens sincerity, reminding you that what you are about to say must come not from intellect or habit, but from the soul's deepest truth. Whisper softly, almost as if you are confiding to the infinite, I am not bound by past actions. I am ever free in spirit. Allow these words to rise from your innermost being, as if you have waited lifetimes to declare them. On the second repetition, speak inwardly with more conviction, feeling divine energy stir in your spine like a golden flame rising toward the spiritual eye. Whisper again, I am not bound by past actions. I am ever free in spirit. Let the phrase echo silently throughout your entire being. On the third and final repetition, lift your inner gaze firmly to the spiritual eye, silently addressing God directly. I am not bound by past actions. I am ever free in spirit. Imagine the words transforming into radiant light shooting upward through your spine, dissolving karmic knots one by one, until nothing remains but pure, unbroken joy. Sit for a moment in silent stillness afterward, not seeking thoughts or visions, but feeling the subtle expansion of freedom in your consciousness. This practice, performed daily with devotion, acts like a spiritual fire continually burning away karmic seeds hidden in the subconscious, freeing your soul to move in harmony with divine will. Beloved soul, while the sacred affirmation and conscious practice ignite the fire of liberation, Yogananda taught that true karmic freedom is never achieved by human effort alone. Divine grace must descend and complete what your will alone cannot. Karma is not only a record of actions, it is a web of energy woven between countless souls and divine laws. While you may untangle parts of it through meditation and righteous living, ultimate release requires the compassionate hand of God to lift you beyond the reach of cause and effect. One of the most powerful ways to invite this divine intervention is through forgiveness. When you hold resentment, judgment, or lingering pain toward others or yourself, karmic cords remain taut and unbroken. Every harsh thought or unhealed wound acts as a spiritual knot binding your consciousness to old vibrations. Yogananda would often say, forgive everyone, including yourself. Only by releasing others can you release yourself. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is a mighty act of soul awareness. It recognizes that every injury you have received or caused was part of a larger tapestry of learning, orchestrated by divine intelligence for the evolution of all involved. When you forgive, you step out of the cycle of reaction that fuels karma and instead rise to a level of vibration where karma cannot touch you. Grace flows most abundantly into a heart purified by forgiveness and humility. In silent prayer, lift your heart to spirit and say, Beloved God, I forgive all souls who have ever hurt me, knowingly or unknowingly. I also forgive myself for every past mistake, for I know I am thine eternal child. Through thy love, all wounds are healed, all debts dissolved. As you offer this prayer sincerely, feel the knots of hidden karma loosening, like chains falling away under a ray of divine light. In that moment, grace enters not as a distant force, but as a living presence within you. You may feel warmth in your heart, lightness in your breath, or a sudden release of old tension in your mind. This is Divine Mother lifting away burdens that could not be released by will alone. Karma, which once seemed like an unending shadow, begins to dissolve in the sunlight of grace, leaving behind only wisdom, compassion, and a newfound freedom to live as Spirit intended. Beloved soul, when divine grace has descended and the sacred affirmation has burned deeply through layers of hidden vibration, changes begin to unfold within you, sometimes subtly, sometimes with overwhelming clarity. These are not coincidences, but unmistakable signs that karma, long dormant in the recesses of your soul, is loosening its grip, dissolving in the fire of Spirit's love. The first sign is an inner lightness that words cannot fully describe. You may awaken one morning and feel as though a burden you carried for ages has simply vanished, leaving you freer to breathe, to move, to live. Old memories that once haunted you lose their sting, as though they belonged to another lifetime entirely. This is because the karmic thread binding you to those experiences has been severed, replaced by a golden current of divine understanding. Another sign is the breaking of long-standing cycles. You may notice that relationships that once caused pain suddenly shift toward harmony, or destructive patterns of thought and habit simply fall away without struggle. Situations that used to trigger fear, anger, or sorrow no longer stir the same reactions. It is as though unseen barriers within you have melted, allowing the river of life to flow unobstructed, carrying you gently toward higher ground. A profound sense of inner peace often emerges, independent of outer circumstances. Even in moments of challenge, you feel guided by an invisible hand, protected by an unseen presence that whispers reassurance, all is well. The past no longer binds you. You are free. With this peace comes a new clarity of intuition. Decisions that once caused confusion are made effortlessly because you feel the divine current directing your thoughts and steps. Perhaps the most radiant sign is the blossoming of spontaneous joy and unconditional love. Without reason, you find yourself smiling at life, loving others without judgment, and feeling a deep kinship with every soul you meet. This is not fleeting emotion. It is the soul's natural state shining forth, unclouded by karmic shadows. Yogananda often described this as feeling the unbroken thrill of spirit, a joy untouched by success or failure, gain or loss. Know this, beloved, these signs are not imagination. They are evidence of your soul remembering its eternal freedom. Hidden karma has been transformed into divine wisdom, and you begin to walk the earth not as a prisoner of the past, but as a radiant beacon of Spirit's liberating light. Beloved soul, when the chains of karma have begun to dissolve and divine freedom has blossomed in your consciousness, it is essential to nurture and protect this sacred state. Spiritual liberation is not merely a single moment of release, but a living, ongoing attunement to God's vibration. If the mind drifts back into old habits, if unconscious tendencies are allowed to awaken once more, karmic seeds can reroot themselves in your consciousness. But if you remain vigilant and anchored in spirit, the freedom you have tasted becomes your natural state, unshaken by worldly storms. To maintain this karmic freedom, begin each morning by turning inward before the world lays its claims upon you. In the quiet of dawn, sit in stillness and repeat the sacred affirmation. I am not bound by past actions. I am ever free in spirit. Speak it not mechanically but with renewed sincerity, feeling its truth deepen each day. Imagine divine light surrounding you, forming a radiant shield that no past vibration can penetrate. In this way, you reset your consciousness daily, ensuring that hidden seeds have no soil in which to sprout. Meditation remains your greatest ally. Each time you enter stillness and lift your gaze to the spiritual eye, the divine current flows upward through the spine, washing away residual traces of old vibrations. Yogananda often said that deep meditation is like a cosmic vacuum cleaner, silently removing karmic dust and leaving the soul polished and pure. Even a few moments of heartfelt communion with God each day strengthens this cleansing flow, keeping you light and free. Living with high spiritual vibration also prevents new karmic entanglements from forming. Choose your thoughts carefully, for every thought is a seed. Choose your words, for every word shapes destiny. Choose your actions, for every deed sets energy in motion. When you act from love, truth, and divine remembrance, you plant only seeds of freedom and joy. Even if old tendencies try to reassert themselves, return quickly to prayer, affirmation, or a moment of inner silence. This interrupts the karmic cycle before it can take hold again. Finally, practice selfless service and compassion. When you lift others from their burdens, when you forgive and bless without expectation, divine grace flows through you, further purifying your own soul. In this way, karmic freedom is not only maintained but expanded until you walk the earth as a channel of Spirit's light, untouched by past shadows, radiating liberation to every soul you meet. Beloved soul, we have journeyed together through the hidden pathways of karma, uncovering its subtle nature, understanding how it shapes destiny, and learning how divine remembrance can instantly free the soul from chains forged over countless lifetimes. Now we arrive at the culmination of this sacred teaching, a vision of what it truly means to awaken as a karma-free soul. Freedom from karma is not merely the absence of suffering or the escape from certain life patterns. True freedom is the awakening of your highest reality, the direct experience that you were never truly bound at all. The soul has always been eternal, pure, and radiant, resting silently in the infinite embrace of spirit. Karma is only the shadow cast by forgetfulness. Liberation is simply the turning of the soul's face back toward its original light. When you repeat the sacred affirmation, I am not bound by past actions. I am ever free in spirit with full awareness and love. You are not changing yourself into something new. You are remembering what you have always been. Each time you declare this truth, hidden karmic seeds lose their potency, dissolving in the presence of divine light. Each moment spent in forgiveness, in stillness, in conscious devotion, is a moment of returning home to the unbroken purity of your own soul. This is the great truth Yogananda revealed. The spiritual journey is not about becoming free someday in the distant future. It is about realizing your freedom now, in this breath, in this very instant. The karma of lifetimes may seem like a vast ocean, yet a single spark of divine realization can evaporate that ocean in a moment. Such is the power of Spirit's grace when the soul awakens fully to its eternal identity. Close your eyes now, beloved. Place your hands softly over your heart and take a long, deep breath. As you inhale, silently affirm, I am not this body. I am not these memories. Hold the breath gently and feel the vast stillness within you. As you exhale, whisper softly, I am the eternal, ever-free soul, one with Spirit forevermore. Feel golden light flooding your being, melting every karmic knot, cleansing every shadow of the past. Feel the joy of God rising in your heart, uniting you with all souls, transcending all lifetimes, dissolving every chain until nothing remains but infinite love, boundless peace, and radiant freedom. Beloved, this is your true nature. Live in it. Speak this truth daily. Breathe it into your thoughts. Let it guide your actions, and watch as your life transforms, as past karma turns into divine blessings, and as you walk the earth as a luminous, liberated child of the infinite. My beloved, what if the burden you carry in your chest did not begin in this life? What if the patterns that bind you, the sorrow that returns unbidden, the invisible force that reroutes your joy? What if all of it was planted long before your birth? When the soul takes on a new body, it does not begin with a blank page. It arrives with the ink of memory etched in its subtle tissues, in the quiet folds of the spine, in the unconscious tendencies of thought and desire. This is karma, not punishment, not cruel fate, but the accumulated vibration of all choices, known and unknown, made across the many pages of your soul's long and winding book of life. You have felt this, haven't you? You try to rise and something within pulls you back. You heal one wound and another from the same root appears. You change your mind, but the emotion lingers. And in your heart, you have whispered, why is this so hard? Why does this pain feel older than I am? My child, it is because some of your sorrow was born not in the present, but in lifetimes long past. And yet, here is the divine promise. You are not imprisoned by karma. You are not condemned by the choices of yesterday. The soul is not a prisoner. It is a beam of God, temporarily cloaked in the shadows of its own unlearned lessons. And just as darkness vanishes when you open the curtain, so too can even 50 years of karma be dissolved by one beam of divine remembrance, by one sacred phrase uttered not from the lips alone, but from the depths of the yearning soul. You need not fight your karma. You need not fear it. You need only to awaken the divine vibration that transforms it. Let me show you how. You were told that karma is punishment. You were told that it is a debt, a sentence, a kind of spiritual handcuff placed on your life by an unseen judge. But that is not what karma is. Karma is not wrath. Karma is not vengeance. Karma is energy, energy shaped by thought, by feeling, by will. Karma is the silent momentum of the soul's desires, moving through time, seeking fulfillment or release. Every thought you have ever thought, every word spoken with emotion, every act done with intention, each becomes a vibration etched into your astral spine, your subtle body, your soul's memory. That is karma, not a punishment, a magnetic residue of what you have believed, chosen, felt, feared, and loved. In the sacred science of yoga, We are taught that the soul is clothed in three bodies: the physical, the astral, and the causal. The karma from this life and others resides not just in your mind, but in these finer sheaths. It clings like mist to the spine, to the chakras, to the vibrational energy that animates your breath and heartbeat. Yogananda called it energy patterns of past actions, not sins, but tendencies. If you were angry again and again, the vibration of that anger becomes a channel, a groove. And unless you consciously redirect it, you will return to that path like water running down a carved slope. My beloved, karma is not your enemy, it is your teacher. But the lesson is not always understood with words. It is understood with spiritual vibration. When you live unaware, karma governs you like a dream governs the sleeper. But when you awaken, truly awaken, you can stand above it. And from that higher place, you can dissolve it. Not by struggling, not by more action, but by invoking the only force that stands beyond karma, the light of God. And so, let us go deeper. Let us understand why time alone cannot heal what lives in the timeless soul. Time is not the medicine your soul is seeking. Time may fade memories from the mind, but karma does not live in the mind alone. Karma lives in vibration, and vibration is not bound by the ticking of clocks. You may spend 50 years trying to forget, trying to outlive a wound, trying to bury the heaviness of some invisible grief. But unless that vibration is consciously transmuted, it will return. Like an echo in a canyon, it circles back to the one who first spoke it. Karma is not healed by waiting, it is healed by awakening. When people say time heals all wounds, they speak of the body, perhaps of emotion. But the soul keeps its own time. A mother who lost her child 2 lifetimes ago may still feel the ache when she walks past a cradle. A man who broke a vow in one life may struggle with trust in the next, unable to explain why he fears what he has never experienced. Karma does not obey linearity, it obeys resonance. Whatever you set in motion, whatever you poured energy into, if it was never released, resolved, forgiven, or spiritualized, it will continue to live in your field. Yogananda taught that karma is carried like a blueprint in the spine. This sacred spine, sushumna, is not merely a physical column of bone and nerve. It is the highway of your spiritual evolution. Every moment you reacted in fear, every time you grasped in craving, every silent judgment or hidden resentment, these did not vanish. They coiled like unseen snakes at the base of your spine, waiting for light, waiting for God remembrance to transform them. This is why simply growing older does not mean growing freer. You can be 70 and still chained to the same karmic pain you carried at 17. Or you can be 25 and, through deep spiritual practice, dissolve lifetimes of bondage in a few months of sacred stillness and divine surrender. It is not time that purifies, it is awareness. It is vibration. It is communion with the infinite. And so, my child, stop waiting for time to do what only God can do. Let us now turn to the sacred key that dissolves karma, not through effort alone, but through sound. Let us remember what the ancients always knew, that vibration is the mother of all creation, and that sacred vibration can also be the fire that frees you. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was not mere language, but divine vibration. This cosmic hum, this eternal soundless sound, AUM, is the womb from which all universes were born. Every atom, every wave of light, every stirring of soul was first a vibration, and what was set into motion by vibration can only be undone by vibration. This is the sacred science behind mantra, behind holy utterance, behind the divine invocation that dissolves karma at its root. You are not made of matter, you are not even made of thought. You are made of sound, sound clothed in form, resonance clothed in bone. And when the soul speaks from the stillness of divine attunement, it sends out a frequency that rearranges reality. This is not metaphor. This is law. Karma is not your enemy. Karma is simply trapped vibration, energy that you once released without wisdom, now returning to be reabsorbed in love. The reason it has clung to you for 50 years, for 5 incarnations, is because the energy has not yet been transmuted. But when you speak from soul union, when your words are charged with remembrance of God, That very vibration becomes the solvent that dissolves the glue of karma. Yogananda said, chanting is half the battle. Why? Because when you chant from the heart, not mechanically, but as a soul crying to the infinite, you harmonize your individual vibration with the cosmic sound. The ego dissolves, the inner blocks melt, and in that purity of tone, karma begins to evaporate like mist before the sun. This is the power of AUM. This is the power of divine name. There are mantras in every tradition. The name of God, spoken with devotion, carries a higher frequency than any thought. In India, Aum; in Christ's tongue, Abba; in the whisper of the Sufi, Hu, all point to the same vibratory truth, that God is not a concept but a living frequency. And when you speak in that frequency, you do not merely pray, you participate in creation. When you chant, Heavenly Father, burn away my past, with the heart of surrender, with the breath of spirit, it is not just sound, it is soul command. It is divine magnetism shaping the astral field, melting karmic crystals, awakening God's fire within your cells. The utterance becomes a blade, a balm, a beacon. Karma, stunned by divine vibration, releases its hold, not because it was defeated, but because it was understood. Beloved, you need not fight your past. You need only out-vibrate it. With stillness, with breath, with sacred speech, let us now turn to the mantra, the key, the divine utterance you were destined to remember. Heavenly Father, burn away my past, illumine my present, and bless my future with thy love. Say it slowly, as if your soul had been waiting lifetimes to speak these words. Whisper them, not from your throat, but from your spine. Let every syllable arise not from desperation, but from devotion. These are not ordinary words. This is not a string of sound. It is a vibrational command, a plea that opens the floodgates of divine remembrance, a mantra encoded with the power to transmute, to dissolve, to deliver. Heavenly Father, with these words you lift your gaze to the infinite source. You do not address karma as your enemy. You speak first to God, for it is only through divine contact that karmic forces lose their grip. You are not begging, you are invoking. You are aligning yourself with the supreme will, the only will capable of untying knots made by lifetimes of ignorance. Burn away my past. Not erase, not deny, not avoid. Burn. Fire is the symbol of sacred purification. In the fire of divine love, the imprints of error dissolve, not into void, but into light. Visualize this. Each karmic thread, entangled around your subtle spine, now melting like wax in the flame of God's awareness. See your past karmas, those silent triggers, ancestral wounds, old betrayals, evaporating as if they were never yours to carry. Illumine my present, for what is the point of cleansing the past if the present remains dark? You are asking God to fill the now with divine clarity. You are no longer driven by blind reaction, but guided by light. Each breath becomes an act of sacred will. Each moment, a luminous opportunity to generate pure karma, karma infused with divine presence. And bless my future with thy love. This is surrender in its highest form. You do not ask for a specific future. You ask for God's love to shape it. And in that prayer, you offer up your plans, your fears, your timelines. You no longer demand freedom, you receive it. Your future is no longer a projection of unresolved karma, but a field of infinite possibility bathed in divine grace. Now, beloved, speak this aloud 3 times, slowly, reverently, not as repetition, but as revelation. With each breath, let the mantra descend deeper into your spine. Feel it etching itself into your energy field. This is no ordinary practice. This is a spiritual surgery. With each utterance, you are inviting God to cleanse the karmic fields that you yourself cannot see. Close your eyes, place your hand upon your heart, and whisper, Heavenly Father, burn away my past, illumine my present, and bless my future with thy love. Again, Heavenly Father, burn away my past, illumine my present, and bless my future with thy love. One final time. Heavenly Father, burn away my past, illumine my present, and bless my future with thy love. Remain still. Feel what has shifted. When karma dissolves, it does not announce itself with fireworks. It vanishes like a shadow at sunrise. It does not always leave a trace, but it always leaves a peace. And that peace may come suddenly, like a falling veil, or slowly, like a thaw. But if you have truly invoked God through the sacred vibration, there will be signs, not of effort, but of release. The first sign is emotional release. You may weep without cause, laugh without understanding, or simply feel an unnameable stillness flood your chest. These are not random moods. They are karmic echoes leaving your body. Just as toxins release through sweat, karmic tension exits through emotion. If you feel lighter after repeating the mantra, if your breath deepens without effort, know that a knot has loosened. Do not rush to interpret it, just allow it to flow. The second sign is relational shift. A person who once triggered you no longer carries the same sting. A relationship you've clung to suddenly dissolves without pain. A past resentment, once etched in fire, now appears distant and soft. Why? Because the karmic bond, the energy that magnetized the suffering, has been purified. You do not need to fight for closure. You do not need to rehash the story. When the karmic vibration dissolves, the outer drama fades with it. The third sign is synchronicity. You will find the right teaching at the right time. A forgotten book may fall into your hands. A conversation may spark a soul memory. You may hear a phrase in passing that feels divinely coded. These are not accidents. These are confirmations that the vibrational field has changed and the universe is now responding to your new resonance. When karma dissolves, the soul becomes magnetic to truth. Life begins to move with you, not against you. And finally, the most sacred sign, stillness. Not the stillness of numbness, but the stillness of knowing. A subtle, golden quietude within your spine. A feeling of being held, even in uncertainty. This stillness does not shout. It whispers. It says, "You are not who you were yesterday." And that whisper is more powerful than any revelation. When karma dissolves, your nervous system rewrites its song. The drama loses its urgency. The soul begins to remember its original sound. Do not wait for external validation. You will know, not by logic, but by vibration. A peace will descend that cannot be traced to any cause. And that peace is not the reward. It is the result of soul light burning through karmic fog. Speak the mantra daily. Let it settle in your spine like golden rain. And as it flows, observe, not with expectation, but with wonder. Karma does not dissolve because you tried harder. It dissolves because you finally allowed the divine to do what only divine presence can. There is a sacred science that predates all religions, yet fulfills the purpose of them all. It is not dogma, but direct divine experience. It is not philosophy, but soul technology. This sacred science is Kriya Yoga. And it is through this inner path that the deepest karmic grooves are not merely eased, but entirely erased. For Kriya Yoga is not a technique for peace. It is a mechanism for soul liberation. When you breathe unconsciously, karma circulates through you like a silent river, carving patterns into your nerves, decisions, and desires. But when you breathe with divine awareness, the river reverses. The prana, or life force, instead of being scattered outward into sensory entanglement, is brought inward, upward, offering the soul's energy back to God. This inward migration is not symbolic. It is vibrationally real. It is the unwinding of karma from the subtle spine. Kriya, when practiced rightly, short-circuits the very loop by which karma perpetuates itself. For what is karma but repeated action bound to unconscious reaction? And what is Kriya but divine action born of perfect inner stillness? Through each breath in Kriya, you draw prana from the scattered fields of bodily awareness and pour it into the Sushumna, the central channel of divine awakening in the spine. With each inward breath, you magnetize the soul back toward God. With each exhalation, you dissolve the vibrational residue of past wrongs. Yogananda called Kriya the airplane route to God. Why? Because it compresses evolution. It burns lifetimes of karma in the furnace of divine breath. One Kriya, he said, is equivalent to a full year of natural spiritual growth. It is not a theory, it is a fire. And that fire, once lit, consumes what no prayer alone can reach. But do not despair if you are not yet formally initiated. Even before receiving the sacred technique, you can prepare the vessel. Begin with breath awareness. Begin with devotion. Watch your breath as the ocean watches the moon. Softly, steadily, reverently. Add the mantra you have been given. Heavenly Father, burn away my past. Say it with breath. Say it with spine. Say it with soul. In time, when the yearning is deep and the intention pure, the path of Kriya will reveal itself to you. And when it does, the karma you feared would follow you into the next life will begin dissolving before your eyes in the stillness between each sacred breath. Let us now go deeper into the sacred remembrance of grace, a story of how karma falls away when God enters. There was a moment, hidden not in time but in eternity, when the veil of karma, woven with lifetimes of desire, fear, and illusion, parted like a curtain before the light of God. I was not seeking miracles. I was seeking Him. But in that seeking, the miracle came. Not through thunder, but through a silence so complete, it swallowed my breath and replaced it with a breathless peace. It was in the hermitage one night, long after the other disciples had entered the stillness of sleep, that I sat in meditation, aching not for liberation, but for communion. I cried not for relief, but for remembrance. And as I withdrew the breath again and again, as I lifted my consciousness from the base of the spine to the seat of divine perception behind the forehead, I felt an inner melting. It was as if something long frozen in me, some invisible knot of sorrow I did not even know I carried, began to dissolve. I had no words for it then, only a sensation, subtle yet undeniable, of an old weight leaving me. Tears came, not of grief, but of release, and as I wept inwardly, I saw behind closed eyes the form of my great guru, Sri Yukteswar, smiling with infinite love. His glance said what no scriptures could, that karma is no more. Later, as I sat in deep stillness, a memory surfaced, not from this life, but from one long past. I saw myself walking the dusty paths of ancient India, robed in the cloth of renunciation, but burdened by pride. In that life I had sought truth, but I had sought it to be seen seeking, and that false seeking had borne fruit, lifetimes of spiritual effort mingled with inner agitation. But in that moment now, sitting in the hermitage, I felt that karmic branch fall from the tree of my being. This is the truth, my beloved. When divine love burns brighter than the ego's longing, karma dissolves not through time, but through grace. The infinite has no delay when the soul truly surrenders. You may not see visions, you may not hear celestial music, but when your yearning becomes pure, when your prayer becomes a flame that says, "Burn me, Lord, until only you remain," then karma bows. It does not argue. It simply falls away, like a leaf in autumn, returning to the soil from which it came. This sacred dissolution is not a reward. It is a recognition. The moment God sees that you have seen through the illusion, He removes the veil. Let us now turn to that veil with new eyes, not as something cursed, but as something chosen. For the next truth is this: karma is not a punishment, but a divine teacher waiting to be thanked. My child, let me now whisper to your soul what the world has long hidden behind the veil of fear. Karma is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your sculptor, your spiritual architect. It is not a punishment inflicted by a wrathful universe, but a precise and sacred design permitted by the infinite to awaken you to your own divinity. Karma is not a sentence handed down. It is a choice written by the soul itself before birth. You chose this life not as a prison, but as a classroom drenched in divine light. Often we wail in the temple of time, "Why me? Why this?" And the answer, though veiled, is tender and absolute. Because your soul desired to remember God through these exact circumstances. Karma, therefore, is not what happens to you. It is what happens for your evolution. Every difficulty is a disguised answer to the soul's own longing for purification. Every repeated pain is a whisper from the infinite, saying, "Not this." not this, until you turn to me. When I walked through this world, I did not curse my trials. I did not beg God to spare me from them. I asked only this, Lord, give me the strength to see thee through this karma. Let not this sorrow be wasted on forgetfulness. In such surrender, karma becomes not a chain, but a chisel. The soul is carved into a divine image through the pressure of remembered truth. You may say, but I did not choose to be betrayed. I did not choose illness or loss. And yet, on the level of spirit, far beyond the veil of ego and flesh, your soul, bathed in God's wisdom, looked upon this life and said, let me walk this path, that I may grow in love, in detachment, in stillness. It is a terrible and holy thing to realize. We are not victims of fate, but participants in a divine play. Even so, beloved, karma is not final. It is a story you may rewrite through inner freedom. Every breath you take in awareness, every prayer you offer in devotion, every time you refuse to react in anger or fear, these acts change the very structure of your spiritual DNA. You are not a passive receiver of life's blows. You are a spark of the divine with the power to transmute karma into wisdom, pain into compassion, and endings into liberation. What you must understand is this. Karma is not a life sentence. It is an invitation. The divine does not wish to punish you. He longs to awaken you, and he waits patiently for the moment when you will look upon your sorrow not with resentment, but with reverence. In that moment, karma begins to lose its hold. The chains loosen, not because they are cut, but because you realize they were made of light all along. And so we step now into sacred agency, no longer pleading for relief, but participating in redemption. You are not here to suffer blindly. You are here to dissolve lifetimes with a single act of divine remembrance. Let us now make this real with daily practice. Now, beloved, let us walk together from insight into action, not frantic action, but devotional discipline. For a mantra, no matter how sacred, is only as powerful as the love and stillness with which it is offered. To dissolve karma is not to recite mechanically, but to commune intimately with the infinite through word, breath, and soul vibration. Begin each morning as the world is still stretching its limbs in slumber. Sit in silence, even if for a few minutes. Before you check the world, check within. Place your right hand gently over your heart. Close your eyes, let your breath rise and fall as if the ocean were moving through your chest. And then, with reverent focus, speak aloud or within the mantra. Heavenly Father, burn away my past, illumine my present, and bless my future with thy love. Let each word rise like incense, not rushing, not mumbling, but offering. With each repetition, see golden fire rising from your heart upward, purifying the spine. See the darkness of old habits, resentments, and fears dissolving like shadows before the morning sun. Say the mantra 9 times, once for each divine opening in the body, or for the 9 gates of perception through which karma may have entered. As you do, let the vibration not just ring in your ears, but in your cells, your memory, your very soul structure. This is not prayer as petition, it is prayer as transformation. Throughout your day, whenever you encounter difficulty, before a tense conversation, before facing a memory that haunts you, before entering the battlefield of thought, pause. Even for 3 seconds, whisper the mantra like a flame flickering in the wind. Burn away my past, illumine my present, and bless my future with thy love. This is not magic. It is metaphysical law. What is offered to the divine in sincerity must be received and transmuted in light. And then at night, before you sleep, return to the mantra again. This time, lie still in bed, spine straight, mind quieting like a settling lake. Speak it into the womb of sleep. Say it slowly. Let it be the last vibration your subconscious absorbs before surrendering to the astral world. The mantra will work while you rest. Karma will unravel not through striving, but through surrender. If you feel distracted, return to the breath. Inhale with Heavenly Father. Exhale with burn away my past. Inhale, illumine my present. Exhale, bless my future with thy love. Let the mantra become your spiritual breath. Let your entire life begin to rise and fall with this sacred rhythm. You may not see fireworks, but you will feel a softening. A memory that once stung now feels distant. A person you once could not forgive now stirs no reaction. This is not forgetting, it is dissolving. Karma is not destroyed with effort, it is dissolved with light. Do not skip a day. If your heart is heavy, say the mantra. If your heart is light, say the mantra. If you forget, begin again. In this way, it becomes not a task, but a rhythm, like the rising of the sun. Karma does not resist such constancy. It bows to it. Let us now gaze upon the long-term miracle that arises when this becomes your way of life. Not just a practice, but a path. My beloved, you must understand, this path you are walking, this sacred utterance you now carry like a flame in the temple of your being, is not merely a whisper in the dark. It is a cosmic force realigning the architecture of your soul. The karma of 50 years or 500 lifetimes begins not with fanfare, but with a shift so subtle the mind might miss it, but the soul never will. You may awaken one morning and find that the grief which once wrapped itself around your chest has softened into silence. You may encounter the one who once wounded you and feel no storm arise, only a quiet blessing in your heart. The ache to control, to explain, to relive the old story. It fades like a dream that cannot hold its shape in the light. That is karma dissolving, not through time, but through transcendence. It begins with stillness. When the mind ceases its grasping and the heart rests in surrender, karmic waves have no resistance to crash against. They are absorbed into the vast ocean of divine remembrance. You become unshakable not because karma has spared you, but because your soul has transcended the need to repeat it. You'll notice your life reshaping itself, not through effort, but attraction. The magnetic pull of unhealed karma weakens. You stop circling the same types of people, the same lessons dressed in new names. Instead, grace begins to enter unannounced. You'll feel drawn to higher truths, to silence, to simplicity, to love that has no condition and no demand. This is the soul aligning with its divine blueprint once more. Synchronicities will increase, those holy coincidences that are not coincidences at all. A book opens to the page your heart needed. A stranger speaks a sentence that answers your silent prayer. Doors open where there were only walls. Why? Because karmic clouds no longer obscure the light that was always meant to guide you. The universe was never against you, dear one. It was simply echoing the patterns you had forgotten to dissolve. And you will begin to radiate something different. Those around you may not be able to name it, but they will feel it. Peace, quiet strength, a softness that holds power. That is the fragrance of karmic release. It is not arrogance or superiority. It is the scent of a soul unburdened by the anchors of the past. You will walk more lightly because your inner world is no longer dragging behind the debris of 1,000 unlearned lessons. And then, the deepest gift of all, your own suffering becomes the root of your compassion. Because you have tasted bondage, your heart longs for the freedom of others. You begin to serve, not to earn grace, but because grace overflows from you. Karma was once your master. Now it becomes your servant. You use what once bound you to liberate others. That is the miracle of this mantra. Not a magic spell, but a mirror that reveals your true self. You are not the pattern. You are not the mistake. You are not the wound. You are the eternal witness who chose this human life to remember the freedom that was never lost. So speak it, live it, trust it, and watch how even the oldest chains turn to dust under the gaze of the infinite. Now, beloved, let us bring all this remembrance into a final flame, an eternal affirmation that you are no longer who you were when you arrived. You are not the same soul who carried the invisible weight of lifetimes into this moment. You are lighter, not because time passed, but because truth was spoken. You have breathed with God, you have spoken with power, and you have surrendered with reverence. Now let us seal it. Close your eyes, let the breath move gently. Do not force it. Let it rise and fall like a sacred tide, as if the infinite himself were breathing through you. In this stillness, speak softly within, or aloud if you are alone, these words not from the mind, but from the center of your being. My soul is free. Say it once more, slowly. My soul is free. Not will be, not might be, not someday, but now. This instant, the chains that clung to your memory, the loops of reaction and pain, they are not you. They were only echoes. And echoes vanish when the voice of God speaks louder. Now say, God's light is greater than my past. Let it settle into your bones, into every cell that ever felt shame, confusion, fear, or defeat. Say it again. God's light is greater than my past. Let the words rise like the morning sun within you, burning through every shadow you once believed was real. And now, with the full force of your devotion, declare this. With every breath, I dissolve 50 years of illusion. Repeat it slowly, each word like a divine bell ringing in your spine. With every breath, I dissolve 50 years of illusion. Pause, breathe. Let silence finish the sentence for you. For in the space between words, God dwells. In the gap between inhale and exhale, He whispers your real name. You are not bound. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not too broken. The soul that remembers this mantra, the heart that offers it with devotion, becomes a shining temple of redemption. You are that temple. And now I give you this final blessing, not from thought, but from the stream of eternal remembrance that flows through the masters of India, through Christ, through Krishna, through the voice that now speaks to you. May the divine fire cleanse your karma and awaken your eternal self. May every step you take be lighter, every breath you take be freer, every word you speak be truer. May you walk not as one who is seeking, but as one who remembers. You are free, not because the world changed, but because you did. Now go, speak the mantra again. Let it be the first sound of your morning and the last word of your night. Let it guide you through joy and sorrow, through silence and sound. And when you feel burdened again, and you will, for this world is thick with illusion, return to this flame. Speak it, live it. And once again, watch karma melt before the gaze of the infinite. And if this truth touched your soul, I invite you to share your mantra below. Not for me, but for the world. Let your light ripple outward so another soul might find the way home through the vibration you now carry. Peace to you, beloved one. Eternal, unwavering peace. Beloved soul, when you close your eyes at night and feel the weight of the day pressing upon you, have you not also felt the invisible weight of many yesterday-sold wounds, unhealed mistakes, memories that return like shadows no matter how far you try to run? Have you not wondered why certain patterns keep repeating in your life? Why some sorrows seem older than this single lifetime? Why a heaviness lingers in the heart as though carved there by unseen hands? These, my dear one, are not mere coincidences of mind or circumstance. They are the silent imprints of karma, subtle energies of past actions that have followed your soul like unseen companions, shaping paths of destiny across lifetimes. But I come to you not to add more weight to your heart, not to make you believe that these chains can never be broken. I have walked through many lives and know by direct experience that every karmic bond can be burned away not by endless suffering or struggle, but by a single, sincere act of divine remembrance. There are words, blessed and charged with the fire of spirit, which, when uttered with full sincerity of soul, ignite a light so powerful that lifetimes of karmic entanglement can be reduced to ash in an instant. Karma is not punishment. It is not a sentence handed down by a distant judge. It is the echo of your own thoughts and deeds, returning to teach you, to guide you, to lead you back toward the remembrance of your divine self. And just as it was created by your actions, it can be purified by a higher action and action of the soul turning to God with such intensity that all past shadows are dissolved in the boundless light of the infinite. Today, I wish to share with you this secret of divine purification, not as philosophy or ritual, but as a living experience you can taste in your own being. Through a single, sacred utterance, spoken not from the lips alone, but from the depth of spirit within you, lifetimes of karma can be burned away, freeing your soul to rise into its eternal destiny. Close your eyes now, dear one, and feel the silent promise in your heart that you were never meant to live as a prisoner of the past. You were meant to soar in freedom, and that freedom awaits you even now. Beloved, before we speak the sacred words that set the soul ablaze with divine freedom, you must first understand the nature of karma itself. So many souls walk through life weighed down by invisible burdens, yet never pause to ask what truly binds them. Karma is not fate written by some stern hand in heaven, nor is it random misfortune that descends without meaning. It is, rather, the subtle law of vibration, the eternal justice of divine intelligence woven through creation. Every thought you think, every feeling you nurture, every word you speak, and every action you take carries within it a vibratory seed. This seed is not lost to time. It is planted in the fertile soil of your astral and causal bodies, where it continues to vibrate long after the moment has passed. Just as an echo returns to the one who made the sound, so too do these seeds of vibration return to you, shaping the circumstances of your life, attracting certain souls into your path, and even determining the tendencies with which you are born into each new incarnation. Imagine a golden thread woven through lifetimes, stretching across centuries of existence. Each act of kindness adds a luminous fiber to that thread. Each moment of selfishness or harm weaves a shadow into its design. Over countless births, this thread becomes a tapestry, a web of destiny that binds you to souls and situations where lessons remain unfinished. Karma is this tapestry, unseen yet inescapably real, drawing you again and again into experiences meant not to punish but to awaken. Yogananda taught that karmic bonds are like magnets hidden beneath the surface of life. They silently pull souls together, sometimes in joy, sometimes in conflict, but always with the purpose of spiritual growth. Even those you cannot forgive or forget are part of this sacred magnetism. Until the lesson of divine love is learned, the magnet continues to draw you close. But here is the blessed truth. Just as a magnet can be demagnetized by a stronger force, so too can the bonds of karma be dissolved by the higher vibration of spirit. Ordinary actions cannot fully erase karmic seeds. Only when you invoke divine consciousness, when you open your heart completely to God, can the hidden fire of spirit rise and burn these seeds before they have time to sprout into further lifetimes of suffering. Feel this truth now, beloved. You are not helpless before your karma. You are not condemned to carry these burdens forever. Within you lies the power of divine fire, the same power that breathed life into your soul at the dawn of creation. In the next part, we will awaken this hidden flame by understanding the secret of the sacred word, the mantra of liberation that Yogananda revealed to those ready to be free. Beloved soul, having now glimpsed the nature of karma as a tapestry woven by your own actions and intentions across countless lifetimes, let us walk together toward the flame that can consume those ancient threads. Understand this well. Karma cannot be untangled by mere intellect, nor can it be erased by earthly deeds alone. Pilgrimages, rituals, offerings all have their place in refining the heart, but the deepest karmic seeds are rooted not in the body but in the astral and causal planes of your being. They can only be dissolved by a fire that burns on those higher planes, a fire born not of matter but of spirit. Yogananda spoke often of the sacred science of sound, of vibration infused with divine remembrance. He knew that words themselves, when charged with God consciousness, become more than human speech. They become conduits for divine energy, vessels carrying the blazing power of spirit into the deepest recesses of your soul. There are phrases, beloved, that when uttered with the full force of your longing for God, reverberate through your astral spine, ignite dormant currents of light, and consume lifetimes of karmic shadows like dry leaves cast into a holy flame. This is the hidden power of the mantra, not as mere repetition of syllables, not as mechanical chant, but as a living, breathing invocation of your eternal self. When spoken in perfect stillness of heart, each word becomes a bolt of divine electricity, striking the seeds of karma hidden within your astral body and reducing them to nothingness. And because this transformation is vibrational, it does not take lifetimes to achieve. It can, in one profound moment of soul, awakening, burn away karmic bonds that might otherwise have taken centuries to unravel. Yogananda revealed that one must not only say these sacred words with the lips, but with every atom of one's being, with a surrender so complete that ego itself disappears into the invocation. When you whisper these words from the depths of spirit, it is not you who speaks, it is God within you, calling himself back into remembrance. And when God speaks through you, nothing of delusion can survive. The chains of karma cannot endure the touch of the infinite. Close your eyes for a moment, beloved, and feel within you the silent current of divine sound. Beneath the chatter of thoughts, beneath even the pulse of the heart, there is a subtle vibration, a hum of spirit ever present within your spine and mind. It is this vibration that the sacred mantra awakens and amplifies. It is this vibration, once fully ignited, that burns away lifetimes of karma and lifts your soul upward, free at last to soar in the radiant light of God's eternal joy. Now let us prepare the vessel of body and mind so that when the sacred utterance is finally spoken, it is not just heard in this world, but echoed in the highest heavens. Beloved one, before the sacred word can pass your lips with the power to burn away lifetimes of karma, you must become like a vessel emptied of all worldly noise, made pure and still enough to hold the blazing nectar of spirit. Just as a flame cannot rise in the wind or in waterlogged wood, so too can the fire of divine mantra only ignite in a mind stilled of restlessness and in a heart dried of clinging attachments. Preparation is not a ritual alone. It is an inner cleansing, a silent offering of self into the hands of the infinite. Begin by sitting quietly in a place where no sound of the outer world can disturb your inner temple. Let your spine become like a column of light, straight and unshaken, rooted in earth yet reaching upward toward the heavens. Close your eyes gently and lift your inner gaze to the spiritual eye, the divine point between the eyebrows where Christ and Krishna consciousness awakens. Feel your breath slowing, not by force, but as a natural surrender to the stillness that begins to bloom within you. Now take a deep, slow breath and silently affirm, I release all burdens of the past. I release all bondage of future. As you exhale, imagine lifetimes of karmic dust leaving your body like wisps of smoke, dissolving into the vast sky of spirit. Do this again, inhaling divine light into your chest, exhaling every chain of sorrow, fear, and ignorance. The more you breathe this way, the more you feel that the weight of centuries is falling away from your shoulders, leaving you light, luminous, almost bodiless. Bring your hands softly to your heart and whisper inwardly, Beloved Divine Mother, beloved Father of creation, I am thine. Burn in me all that is not of thee. Let this prayer vibrate in every cell until you feel warmth rising through your spine, a living current of sacred fire kindled by your own surrender. You are now no longer a mortal whispering toward heaven. You are a soul opening its gates for heaven to descend. When the body is still, when the breath is calm, when the mind has bowed in humility and longing, the mantra is no longer a sound, it is a living power. At that moment, beloved, when your heart trembles with love and your spirit leans wholly toward God, you may speak the sacred utterance, not as a seeker begging for release, but as an eternal child of spirit commanding the universe with the authority of divine remembrance. In this readiness, feel as though your spine has become a sacred altar, your breath a priest, and your very soul a flame rising to meet the eternal. Only now, in this holy silence, can the word you are about to speak burn away the invisible threads that have bound you across lifetimes. Beloved soul, as the stillness deepens and divine readiness envelops you, imagine now that you are seated not in a room of earth but in the boundless temple of spirit. Around you there is no darkness, only a golden radiance, as though the very air is woven of light. Above your head, you sense an infinite expanse, a heavenly canopy glowing with the presence of God. Beneath you, the ground no longer feels solid but instead vibrates with living energy rising up through your spine. You are no longer bound by time, no longer a prisoner of mortal identity. You are the eternal traveler standing at the doorway of freedom. In this exalted state, whisper inwardly with profound sincerity, I am not the past, I am not my mistakes, I am eternal spirit, free forever in God. Repeat this silently, allowing every word to echo through your being, not as a thought but as a direct realization. Feel as if unseen hands of divine light are reaching into your soul, gathering all the heavy stones of karma that have clung to you through countless lives. One by one, these stones are lifted, dissolved, and cast into the blazing fire of spirit, never to return. Now, beloved, speak the sacred mantra softly but with unwavering conviction. Lord, burn away every chain of ignorance. Reveal in me thy pure light. As these words vibrate within you, envision a brilliant flame igniting at the base of your spine, rising upward like a golden river of fire. It moves through every center of your being, cleansing, purifying, transforming. Old impressions stored in your astral body are illuminated, turned to light, and released into infinity. This fire moves upward to the point between your eyebrows, where it bursts like a radiant sun, filling your entire consciousness with divine brilliance. Sit in this light. Breathe as though every inhalation draws in cosmic joy, and every exhalation sends out waves of blessing to all souls who journey with you through time. In this moment, no past karma exists, for the very seeds of bondage have been burned away in the flame of God's love. You have not merely spoken words, you have awakened the eternal word, the living vibration of spirit that dissolves every shadow of delusion. Rest now, beloved, in the silent aftermath of this inner fire. Feel the vastness of your soul, unshackled and luminous, rising into divine remembrance. Know that what has been released will not return, for in sincere communion with the infinite, karma has no place to cling. From this day forward, you walk not as one bound to a past of sorrow, but as a free child of the eternal, glowing with the light of divine victory. Beloved, as you sit in this radiant silence, feel how different the world now appears within you. The same thoughts that once troubled your mind feel faint and powerless. Old fears, lingering regrets, and the weight of unseen burdens have melted like snow beneath the spring sun. This is not imagination. This is the natural state of the soul once its karmic chains are consumed by divine fire. You have touched, even if for a moment, the unshakable freedom that has always been your true nature. Yet know this well, while one moment of deep sincerity can burn away mountains of karma, your task now is to remain anchored in this newfound freedom. Just as a garden, once cleared of weeds, must still be tended to prevent them from returning, so too must the soul, once purified, nurture divine awareness daily to avoid sowing new karmic seeds. Freedom is not a single act. It is a continual alignment with spirit. Each morning as you awaken, remember the sacred words you have spoken in this meditation. Whisper them softly with gratitude. Lord, burn away every chain of ignorance. Reveal in me thy pure light, not as a plea, but as a declaration of your eternal truth. Feel the same golden flame rising anew within you, keeping your inner temple bright and untainted. Throughout your day, when you encounter trials or temptations, do not see them as punishments, but as opportunities to affirm your freedom. When anger arises, answer with calmness. When fear whispers, answer with faith. When old habits try to return, answer with the inner fire you have kindled. Each such response prevents new karmic threads from being woven into your destiny. And beloved, make meditation the cornerstone of your life. It is through deep stillness that the soul continually bathes in divine light, washing away the dust of daily living. In the quiet sanctuary of meditation, you draw closer to God, and in that divine presence, karma cannot survive. The more you dwell in spirit, the less the vibrations of past actions can touch you, until at last you stand utterly free, a blazing star in the cosmic heavens of liberation. Know this with certainty. Having invoked the sacred utterance with devotion, you have already begun the journey of complete karmic dissolution. Even now, divine grace is working within and around you, reshaping unseen threads of destiny, releasing you from burdens you may never even have known you carried. Trust in this process, beloved, and walk forward with the serene joy of one who knows that nothing from the past can bind the eternal soul that lives as God's own light. Beloved soul, as you walk forward from this moment of purification, understand that the dissolving of karma is not only for your own liberation, but also a silent blessing that ripples outward to touch all who are connected to you. Karma is rarely individual. It is interwoven like threads in a vast tapestry of souls, family, friends, even those who once seemed like adversaries. When your soul is lifted into divine light, invisible threads that once bound others to cycles of sorrow begin to loosen as well. Imagine standing at the center of a great web, where every action and thought has been like a drop of dew, weighing down the silken strands. As you have called upon the divine fire and burned away these karmic seeds, Not only do you rise into light, but the entire web begins to shimmer, lighter and freer. Your ancestors, your descendants, and those bound to you across lifetimes feel, in subtle ways, the glow of your transformation. This is the hidden mercy of God. One soul's awakening uplifts countless others. This is why the masters of every age have said that to free yourself spiritually is the highest gift you can offer to humanity. Saints and sages are not only freed themselves, but carry entire legions of souls upward through their realization. Even now, as you sit here immersed in the lingering radiance of God's presence, the souls of those you have loved, whether in this life or beyond, are feeling a breeze of divine grace touch them, a breath of freedom carried on the wings of your own awakening. Do not underestimate this silent influence. When you walk through your home, when you speak to others, when you share even a glance or a smile, let it flow from the light you have ignited here. You need not preach or explain. Your vibration alone will speak, carrying divine comfort and awakening wherever it goes. Like incense filling a room without words or effort, your presence, purified by the mantra of liberation, will transform unseen energies in your surroundings. And beloved, as you continue in this practice, saying these sacred words with devotion not once but making them part of your daily inner communion, the karmic fire grows brighter. Gradually, you will find that even the deepest patterns, lifelong struggles, fears that seemed immovable, recurring sorrows begin to vanish as though they were only faint shadows before the dawn. Each repetition is not a ritual. It is another step upward on the ladder of divine freedom, another wave of blessing flowing outward to all beings connected to your soul's journey. Now, rest once more in silence, feeling not just your own release but the collective lifting of countless souls, as the karmic bonds that once tied you together are transmuted into radiant threads of divine light. Beloved, as the inner light grows stronger and your karmic burdens are lifted into the divine flame, a new clarity begins to awaken within your consciousness. You will notice that the same outer world now feels subtly transformed. Situations that once triggered fear or resentment will no longer hold the same power over you. Relationships that seem bound by old wounds will feel lighter, freer, as though an unseen veil has been lifted. This is not imagination, it is the natural effect of karma being dissolved at its root. In this elevated state, you begin to sense the silent guidance of spirit more vividly than before. Intuitions arise like golden arrows of wisdom, pointing you toward harmony and away from unseen snares of suffering. Where once you felt compelled by habit or past conditioning, you now feel the quiet strength to choose differently. This freedom of choice, untouched by karmic weight, is the dawn of true spiritual mastery. Beloved, the divine mantra you have spoken is more than a prayer, it is a sacred key that unlocks the higher chambers of your being. It opens doors in your astral spine, allowing the holy current of God's energy to flow unobstructed through you. As this current rises, it carries with it every shadow of past mistakes, every echo of sorrow, and offers them to the eternal fire of divine remembrance. In its place, waves of bliss begin to wash over you, lifting your soul closer to its original, unblemished state. From this place of grace, your relationship with the world transforms. You begin to see every soul not as an adversary or companion, shaped by lifetimes of tangled karma, but as radiant sparks of the same divine flame. Compassion blossoms naturally, effortlessly. Forgiveness flows like a river through your heart, not because you force it, but because you see through the illusion of separation that karma once sustained. And as this vision deepens, miracles unfold quietly, yet unmistakably. Doors that once seemed forever closed will open. Burdens that felt immovable will dissolve without struggle. Even the body's very cells begin to resonate with higher vibrations of light, as though each one remembers its true, divine origin. This is the miracle of burned karma. It does not merely change your destiny, it restores your soul's eternal harmony with God. Now, beloved, feel this harmony filling your heart as a golden radiance. Let it spread through your mind, your breath, your very being, until you know without doubt that your soul is free, untouched by past shadows, ready to live fully in divine alignment. From this state, you are no longer the seeker weighed down by invisible chains. You are the liberated one, walking the earth as a living channel of God's eternal light. Beloved soul, as this light of freedom continues to expand within you, let us now understand the deeper mystery of why this sacred process works with such divine precision. Karma, as you have seen, is vibrational law. It is not imposed by an external judge, but is woven into the very fabric of your consciousness. Every action, every thought, every subtle desire leaves a ripple in the astral and causal sheaths of your soul, storing impressions that silently shape future experiences. These impressions, though unseen, bind you to the wheel of birth and rebirth, ensuring that lessons remain until they are learned in full awareness. When you spoke the sacred words with devotion and opened yourself to God's purifying flame, you did more than pray for forgiveness. You invited the infinite to enter your very vibration, to realign the subtle energy patterns that have bound you across lifetimes. This is not metaphorical, it is a living spiritual science. As divine sound and intention flow through your spine and mind, the dormant seeds of karma hidden within your astral body are incinerated by the higher frequency of Spirit's presence. Imagine a field of countless seeds lying in the dark soil of time. Some are seeds of joy, others of sorrow, many yet to sprout into the lessons of future incarnations. Ordinary life can only water these seeds or let them sleep, but divine fire burns them before they can take root. This is why saints, having entered perfect communion with God, are free from the compulsion of future births. The field of their consciousness has been cleared. Nothing remains to draw them back to suffering or limitation. Beloved, you too have begun this sacred clearing. The moment you surrendered, the moment you spoke not just with your lips but with every fiber of your being, the holy vibration of Spirit began reshaping your destiny. Though some outer circumstances may still unfold as remnants of already sprouted karma, their power over your soul is broken. Like arrows already released from the bow, they may still pass through your life, but they cannot wound the deeper essence of who you are. And as you continue to live in this remembrance, returning each day to the sacred mantra, your consciousness will rise above even the remnants of old karmic threads. What once would have caused deep suffering will pass over you like shadows on a sunlit wall seen but powerless. In this way, you are not merely changing your future, you are awakening to the timeless freedom that has always been your true state. Rest now in this realization. Feel that every layer of your being is glowing brighter, vibrating higher, ascending closer to God's own frequency of infinite love. You are no longer bound to the old story of lifetimes past. You are stepping into the eternal song of liberation, where karma is not only burned but transcended in the radiant embrace of the divine.